This episode is proudly presented by One World Entertainment and the Smashing Pumpkins' The World is a Vampire Festival, running from April 15 through to April 30. Go to oneworldentertainment.com.au for more information. And now on with the show. Hey Michael.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing all right. Hanging in there.
Packing and ready to leave soon.
Yeah, we're leaving Saturday, so just a few days.
Excellent. We'll see you next week in Brisbane, which will be great.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
So how are you? How is the eye holding up after the wonderful, as I call it, effective Todd Kearns detached retina surgery?
It's holding up fairly well. I mean, the fact that it happened twice, and then I had a third surgery to correct the lens, and they had to place it on the outside of my cornea and remove part of my retina. That was the problematic part of it all. And my vision's pretty messed up in that eye. It's pretty useless, but at least I have a little bit of vision, and I'll take it. I'm happy about that. The alternative would have been complete blindness out of that eye, and that wouldn't have been fun. But it's I kind of gotten used to it by now and moved on, and I'm just hoping that it stays in this place for the rest of my life.
Does the stage lights affect it much at all?
They do. They always did. I've always had really sensitive eyes to light, and now it's much worse for sure.
Okay.
So, you see me wearing sunglasses a lot.
Yep.
And not because I want to, but because I have to. When it's bright, any kind of bright light, I've got to wear them.
Sure. Now, I've got to ask, over the last couple of albums, and not just since Perry's joined the band, Stryper, everyone's going to say Stryper's gotten heavier. I just think Stryper's evolved in a different direction. Was that a concerted effort, or it just happened naturally?
I think it's happened naturally over the past 15 years or so. And then obviously once Perry joined, even more so. But yeah, it's been one of those situations, at least for me subconsciously as a writer. You can only hear so many times, they're not heavy enough, they're not heavy enough, they're not heavy enough. And, if you go back to some of those old albums, starting from the very beginning and going all the way through to Against the Law, you could pull out songs like Rock the Hell Out of You, and off of the first album, Come On Rock. And you can pull out songs that are heavy, every bit as heavy as any other metal band at the time. And for some reason, we kind of get labeled as being a glam band or a pop metal band. And I just shake my head at that. And I think that's based on songs like Calling on You and Honestly. But people tend to, not all people, but some people tend to forget about the heavy side of Stryper. So I think we've been on a bit of a mission the past 15 years to kind of prove those people wrong. Like, really? Really? We're not a metal band. We're not heavy. Okay. And that's been our goal for the last 5-6 albums.
Yeah, and I think it shows, because the sounds evolved, but you haven't lost the melody that, in my opinion, Stryper is also known for. A lot of people always go like the Yellow and Black Attack, and forget about the fact that you've got great singers in the band and great players that lend itself to melody.
For sure. We've always been about melody. I grew up on Judas Priest every bit as much as I grew up on Journey.
Yep.
I love both equally as much. And, I'm a sucker for melody, and you got to have melody. That's what makes people sing along. You don't have a melody, no one's going to sing along. So that's important to me to have a song that people can listen to and remember and hum along to later, or remember the melody later. That's a big deal and important for me as a writer. So you got to have that for sure.
Now, would you agree with the fact that as many bands from the 80s are winding down, Stryper seems to have found like a a new lease, a new direction, so to speak. Do you think this is more or less a new beginning for the band?
I do. I think that we're turning in our best efforts lately, and producing our best efforts. I mean, if you put the latest album, for example, The Final Battle, up against To Hell with the Devil or Soldiers, whatever, at least those two, in my opinion, are our best from the past. If you put it up against those, it holds its own. Is it better? That's for one to decide. Everyone has a different opinion on that. Is it worse? Again, everyone has a different opinion. I really believe it's equally as good. It's on that level.
Yep.
We haven't gone backwards or regressed at all, in my opinion. And I'm very happy with that, because we strive for that. We strive to outdo ourselves. I really go as far as to say, and it makes some fans quite upset, I go as far as to say that we're in our best times right now.
Yep.
We're turning in our best work. I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the fact of, I'm not going to say Stryper's gotten heavy, because you're right, you've always been heavy. I just think that there's this new groove with Perry in the band, this new low end that has enabled your vocals to weave differently, which is really amazing. And I think that the best is actually probably yet to come.
I agree. I think the best is yet to come, man. And I look forward to that. I mean, never say never. People that give up just because they're getting a little older, or they're told that they can't give their best or turn in their best because they're in their 60s or what have you. It's just nonsense and rubbish. Don't believe it for 1 second. Prove them wrong. You can and you will. And I think Stryper is doing just that. We're proving all the naysayers wrong.
Have you ever thought of going down the route like a lot of bands do, where you have the orchestra behind you and do a live show with an orchestra?
We talked about that. It's just trying to put it together, and the logistics and details of it all. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It has to be the right orchestra and in the right place, the right venue, hall. It's very difficult to put things like that together. But yeah, we would love to. And I hope that day comes soon enough where we can actually see that become a reality.
Awesome. The one thing I am so excited about, I'm a documentary nerd, the Stryper documentary. Where are we at with it?
Well, we were able to miraculously raise triple the money we expected to raise. And we've been entrusted with that. And we're not going to let anybody down. It's just we're taking our time doing it. Right. We're assembling the right team. We're there pretty much, or certainly very close to being there. And now it's just a matter of making the documentary and making it all happen. So it's going to take a little longer than originally expected, but it's coming. And when it does come, it's going to be special. It's going to be worth the wait, because we want it to have its own unique stamp. We don't want it to just be another rock doc where it's the same old, same old. It's got to be special and different and unique. And this one most certainly will be.
How much legacy material, like video-wise, do you have going back to even pre-Stryper to include?
Are you talking about material as in music that's recorded?
Well, no, video for the documentary.
We have some. We've got some footage from the old days that we'll use and incorporate. And then we have a lot of newer footage. And when I say newer footage, I mean from the past few decades, going back to 2001 to now, 2023. So we've got some footage for sure. But I think it's more or less going to be about getting new footage as well.
Yep.
New interview, new live footage of the band, and then interviewing people whose lives have been touched and affected with a powerful story in a powerful way that really moves people when they hear their story. And we've got a few people in mind for that. It's going to be incredible.
Has that, like a lot of venues in the States actually had in-house recording in the 80s, 70s. Has there been something that's turned up in recent times where you've been like, oh my God, I can't believe that actually exists?
Yeah, for sure. That happens on rare occasion. You see something, and sometimes it's something you don't mind viewing or hearing about or seeing, but most of the time it's stuff that you kind of cringe at and think, oh, I wish that had never reared its ugly head. Uh, yeah, it's back in those days. We didn't have cell phones. People couldn't record,
Yep.
and we didn't have YouTube. So it was a different world. Now everybody records everything at every show, and it goes on YouTube an hour later. So it's oversaturated with really great performances and sadly really bad performances too.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose quality. No quality control at all.
So on that, what's your feeling when you're up there in the moment on stage and the people that have raced to be down on that barricade and it's a phone looking right at you rather than the person?
Well, it's not too big of a deal until you hit that sour note or you destroy that guitar solo. And then you look down and you see the red light on the phone and you think, dang.
Yeah.
That's going to be on YouTube in a half an hour. And it is.
Yep.
And you go on later and you watch it and then you read all the negative comments. Oh man, they suck. Wow, he really butchered that. Because everyone can go and say whatever they want to say. They don't care. It's a really weird world we live in right now. It's weird. Yep. I come from the school of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it.
Yep.
But that's been completely done away with in our world today.
Yeah, I agree. And look, as a kid whose first concert was 1980, you know, no such thing as phones. No such, like, you'd be lucky to take in your camera. So
yeah,
even though I'm a photographer by trade, I enjoy putting it away after the first three and actually watching the show because I miss all the nuances being in the photo pit. And
exactly.
I'm going to be one of these weird people that say, I don't mind hearing a bum note because it means I'm at a rock show.
It's so true. And it's so interesting because, you know, there are those rules and regulations on photographers. And from day one that I recall, it's always been 3, maybe 4 songs. On rare occasions, certain photographers can photograph the whole set, but that's rare.
Yep.
And that's okay. But, you know, if you mention phones, no phones for a show, wow, people just lose it.
Yep.
And they think that that's their right, their God-given right to pull out their phone and record the whole show. And, you know, it's not just so much recording the show and, you know, getting a bad performance and the band has no say in it. But even beyond that, the experience for all the other fans around it, because now it's not just phones, it's iPads.
Yes.
And this giant, you know, giant piece of equipment in front of your face. And I've been to those shows behind an iPad, and I'm literally that close to taking my hand and pushing the iPad down. But if you do that, you know, there's a fight breaking out and people get so upset. And it's like, I really think phones and iPads really should, after 2 or 3 songs, just like photographers, that's it.
Yes.
You got to put them away. And if you don't want to abide by the rules, don't come.
Yeah. Yep. You're going to a rock show, not a photography convention.
Exactly. And there are people who literally are taking video of the whole show.
Yep.
They're not even watching the show. They're watching their phone or their iPad. And it's just such an interesting thing to witness and to experience.
Yeah. Now, moving on to next week, when you're here, have the band worked out a set list? Are we going to get any hidden gems for Australia?
Well, the set list that we're performing is a set list we performed earlier in the year. You're going to get, I believe it's 21 songs. You're getting classics mixed in with some newer material. It's quite an eclectic set. I think everyone's going to get their money's worth for sure. If they don't, I'd be very surprised. And, you know, we try to fit in as many songs as we think people want to hear as we can, but it's very tricky because we've got such a wide, large catalog. It's impossible to fit everything into a 90-minute set.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've toyed with the idea of mixing it up to a point where we don't do any of the classics. And I think that would be kind of fun. I don't know how well that would go over, but for us, the band, we would have a blast. It'd be amazing.
That'd be the show you do with the orchestra, just a deep cut show.
It'd be so much fun, you know, to do all the songs no one expects to hear.
Yep.
You know, from Yellow and Black Attack, for example, do You Won't Be Lonely Anymore, and From Wrong to Right. Move on to Soldiers and do Waiting for a Love That's Real and Together Forever. You know what I mean? Just songs we never play.
Awesome, man. You are going to be here in under a week. We look forward to seeing you in Brisbane. We can't wait. Thanks for your time, Michael. Hope you have the greatest trip down here. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for your time and for wanting to talk to me. And we will see you soon. God bless you,
man. See you. Bye.
The world is a vampire.
The Smashing Pumpkins are coming down under this April for their World is a Vampire Festival. With special guests, Jane's Addiction, Amyl and the Sniffers, and more. Plus, professional wrestling, the NWA versus Australia's best. Tickets on sale now at oneworldentertainment.com.au. The Smashing Pumpkins World is a Vampire Festival. Get your tickets now.